now we're on to Mechanist. We're gonna go, top to bottom, left to right. So Mechanist. So this is a decent one. In fact, this is like the first one I recommend for players who have a little bit of experience in Stellaris. You get 8 robot pops, which is really cool. So mechanical trait, adaptive frames. This is an amazing trait that I highly recommend, that I get for almost every single one of my robot species. I pick this trait every single time. In fact, if I were to rank this trait, it would be S tier. Absolutely. Because I remember what it was like before this trait was out. So in Stellaris before this, you basically had to specialize every species you came out, or make a whole bunch of species, because every single resource has their own specific trait to go with it. But this one, the reason this is S tier is because you only pick this trait and it automatically switches to one of those depending on what the job is doing. So you don't have to make all these different species. You don't have to do all this other crazy just to get those bonuses. You just put this in and you're good. It is, yeah, set it and forget it. It is borderline lazy, but you know what? That's the draw of it as well. That's why it's so cool, because I don't have to think about too much with this. I can just choose this and be good with it and focus on other things. So the adaptive frames, that's definitely an S tier, in my opinion, an S tier trait for robots. And I think there's also a version for biologicals as well. So look for that, but I highly recommend that trait. So that's really good. Homeworld robot assembly plant. So you start with a robot assembly plant, which makes one robot job, which makes robot jobs, makes robot pops. So that's good. Now, the downside is the robot assembly plant does cost alloys. So you will have less alloys than your average Empire at first, okay? You also get a leg up in required tech, such as powered exoskeletons, which makes sense, and artificial workforce makes sense considering, you need these in order to function with robots. Then research options, machine template system. So this allows robo-modding, for you to change your species, so that's cool. Mechanist assembly speed, trait picks, modification points, so you get even more traits with your robots. It's really good. This overall is really good. My first instinct, and I'm probably going to go with it, is B tier for sure. This is at least a B tier origin. It is not the best by any means. There are way better. Especially, now here's the other thing. If you're playing vanilla, you don't have a lot of origins to choose from that don't require some kind of DLC. So if you're playing vanilla, sometimes this is A tier, especially depending on your playstyle and your build. If you're going robots, this is required, and you're doing vanilla. Like, you don't have synthetic dawn, you don't have machine age or any of that stuff. Yeah, this is your go-to. This is it. You want to mess with robots, this is how you do it. I would pick this every time. I used to pick this every time for robots. Robots are really powerful. They do have a couple drawbacks here and there, but really they're not noticeable. And I've never really ran into them that much. You've got special crisis and things, but see, you got to understand, you new players, you're going to get a crisis no matter what. So it really doesn't matter what crisis you get. I'm sure people would disagree with me, but really, at the end of the day, they're all about equally strong in their own different ways. They've just got different strengths and weaknesses. Some of you can't go. Basically, you will get a crisis at some point in the game. It's inevitable. So any crisis that might be caused by going with robots, don't even worry about it. Just make the robots. Just use the robots. Obviously, if you do have some DLC, you won't be able to do this with Gestalt empires, such as machine empires and things. But if you've got Synthetic Dawn, there are better origins for that anyway. Yeah, there are better origins for machines anyway than this, such as resource consolidation, which I'll get to later. But you know what? This is pretty much a solid B choice. And the only reason it's a B is because there are better origins out there, though it stays B because it is a staple of vanilla. It's one of the staples in my opinion. It's really good vanilla origin. If you don't get DLC, you don't do mods, then this is going to be one of the best ones that you can pick. So Mechanist is B tier.